Good to know.
Sorry for mispronouncing the title.
Who grew up in the 70s and 80s remember a disastrous Trudeau economic legacy that most definitely was not worth the cost. 14 deficits in 15 years, leading to an inflation crisis, an energy crisis, and a housing crisis. The long-term impact of interest payments on that Trudeau debt forced another Liberal government a decade later to cut a devastating 32% from transfers for healthcare, education, and social services. This Liberal-NDP government is going down the exact same road. How much will they spend on interest on their record debt this year?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
We constantly talk about the record of fiscal responsibility, Mr. Speaker. During the Stephen Harper years, they ran 7 consecutive deficits.
Wow.
Deficits, Mr. Speaker. Under this government, we've seen economic growth. We've seen this government go through an extremely challenging time in the pandemic. But guess what? Businesses are still there. They are finding ways to thrive as a result of the ways that we supported them and continue to find ways to support them. When Canadians need support for key other challenges now, like housing, we are there. They're putting half measures on the table. They're not worth the risk, Mr. Speaker.
Hear, hear.
Well, Mr. Speaker, after 8 years of mind-blowing, unprecedented, previously unfathomable increases in spending, this government's response to every question is to ask why we won't help them spend even more. Again and again and again, we on this side will stand up against an incompetent Liberal government that is leading us down a path of economic devastation. Again, my question was reasonable and straightforward, and I'd appreciate an answer this time. What will this Liberal NDP government spend on interest on its record debt this year?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
It is a surplus. They turn it into deficit after deficit after deficit, Mr. Speaker. On this side, we put constructive measures on the table, like lifting GST on the building of rentals for Canadians. They talk about an attachment that they have to a vision for the country that puts the middle class front and center. It's not true, Mr. Speaker. Why are they proposing at this time, at a time where Canadians are facing a housing crisis, to tax the building of rentals for the middle class? It makes no sense. A reckless approach from start to finish.